Hello everyone, welcome to Club Extra here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. We are live tonight. I am Scott Carney, and joining me for a long overdue podcast chat catch up, I would say, because we have spoke since the last time you were on the pod, Stevie. But Stevie Clifford. Stevie, how are you?
Mate, listen, apologies, it's been so long, but I've been busy getting chubby and eating stuff and dealing with life, man. And then you've went away and had babies and all sorts, mate, and made babies. And listen, it's been busy time for us, but it's good to be back on. We're going to make it a regular monthly thing, and hopefully people enjoy it. It's a nice wee crossover. So,
Absolutely.
and I've got a new dungeon, mate. Do you like it?
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm in a different dungeon as well now, mate. I got booted out the podcast room and I had to develop the cupboard under the stairs into something because obviously that's going to be my wee girl's room now. So I've also developed a weird Harry Potter cupboard. I think is probably the closest thing that I can call. I can't stand up in mine. Put it that way. If I stand up in mine, my head will go through the roof because I can literally touch the roof sitting down. So.
Mate, I'm only 5 foot, as you know, so I've got loads of room in here.
But, you've probably got room on this one as well, Stevie, to be honest. You'd probably fit,
mate, honestly, I love this room. I love the idea of it. It was just full of junk. Made it in, put it on, and people just absolutely tore it to shreds on the internet, didn't they? So, yeah. What can I say? Like, it got called Harry Prodder and all sorts of stuff and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. I never see. I was so excited. I didn't see the downside to having my own wee podcast room until people started tormenting me for it, and they were like, "That's your dungeon" and all that. I just thought, "Oh my god!" So yeah, this shows you how weird and wonderful the Rangers podcast world is, isn't it?
Just social media is an old its own universe, mate. We know that. We've spoken about that many a time, and I think I've not got a big enough presence on social media, I don't think, to get slated or for people to notice that I've actually moved to a cupboard. But kitting it out with it, I managed to get every single picture of Rangers in this room, and even behind the camera and that, like there's pictures absolutely everywhere, which I was pretty impressed at. It didn't cost very much, and yeah, I've kind of went and done it. She also bought me an Xbox for the Christmas, which she's probably seriously regretting right now, like she probably is. But I've also managed to get it set up in here as well, so it's like my own little man, my own little man cave. But yeah. Maybe that's what we were talking about, names for the pod. Maybe we should like podcasters under the stairs. There's probably a podcast called that, isn't there? I'd imagine there is that Rangers podcast under the stairs. I don't know. That could get dangerous, I suppose. We would go down that kind of thing. But yes, no, look, we are going to look to do this more often. As you see, me and Stevie have both been busy. He's been busy doing what he said he was doing. I've been busy, as you say, having a baby and growing a mustache. So it has been a busy period, but we are going to try and do it as often as we can. Get your comments in the chat, everybody. Hello, yes, we're live on YouTube. Good to see you all. Get your questions in. Me and Stevie will have a chat and we'll come to questions as well. We'll just have a wee chat, all things Rangers, really, since the last, maybe not all things Rangers, because it has been a while and there's been quite a lot happened in the world of Rangers, which isn't like Rangers. But yeah, just get your questions in, everybody, and yeah, we'll see where we end up. Stevie, I'm going to start with probably the serious stuff with tonight. And it's maybe not serious. I think it was probably in the post, the statement from the club today regarding the sanctions and whatever else UEFA are placing on the fans due to what's happened with the fan behaviour, pyrotechnics, throwing of things, displaying of banners, etc. I thought it was a pretty strongly worded statement from the club, but I don't think it's unnecessary, and I don't think it's a surprise that it was coming, because they've asked for cooperation, especially with the pyrotechnic stuff. They've asked for cooperation and they didn't really get it. So, but what's your take on it?
Yeah, really strongly worded, which took me by surprise a wee bit, because we normally aren't like that, and we were. I think that the stuff about the throwing of missiles, I think the stuff about the pyrotechnics, as you talked about, is absolutely bang on. They have to stop that. And yeah, I mean, I think that's fair enough. When you start going on about banners and things like that, listen, I'm maybe old-fashioned, mate. Like, I'm in my 40s now. I just want to go and watch Rangers play football. I'm not really interested in who you believe in for religion. I respect that. I'm not really interested in what your sexuality or anything is. That's your own business. I just want to go and see my team play football. I'm not particularly bothered about what is displayed and things like that. I just want to go and see football. So I don't really have an opinion on banners and what they mean and stuff like that. I kind of go with the opinion that people are allowed to say what they want to say, as long as it doesn't hurt the club. The minute it starts hurting the club, then I've got an issue with it because it doesn't help us. And unfortunately for us, right, it's UEFA's ball. So once they decide something, that's it. Me personally, I'd rather just go and watch the team. It's stressful enough, especially lately, without it having to be anything more than that. And that's just my opinion on it. I just would like to concentrate on what goes on. And I don't mind free speech and everything else. And I don't mind what people believe in or whatever else. That's up to them. It's no problem. I'm not saying it's not. I just don't think it's necessary that I need to worry about it when I go and watch my team. I just want to watch my team play football. And that's it. So everybody's welcome. No issue at all. Can we just get on with watching the game? And that's where I really want it to be. You know, put banners up about the players, put banners up about the club and stuff like that. That's all I would ask.
I would agree. I think and I'll be a hypocrite because when I think the pyrotechnics and stuff, I think it can create an amazing display and an amazing atmosphere. I quite enjoy it. I'm not going to say that I don't. I like it. However, we're now getting fined for it and it's now damaging the club, and we could be looking at a lot of supporters that have never took a pyrotechnic to a game not getting to go to a game, which then becomes I don't know the word, selfish, maybe. The fact that you're just wanting to do it just because it displays that, and you have to think of the bigger picture. I'm the same. I've got no real issue with anybody being whoever they want to be. If you want to identify as an apple, by all means, on you go. That's completely down to you. But I don't think it belongs in football. I just don't think it belongs in football. And a lot of the stuff that has been displayed has just got a bit kind of, I don't know, out of touch, out of kind of taste, and it doesn't involve football. And that's kind of, I say it all the time. I don't have a religion. I've got one religion, and it's Rangers. I say this all the time, and Ibrox is my church. That is it. That's it. When I go, I don't have anything else that I follow. I'm not particularly political minded or anything along those lines. But you've got to respect people. It's a tough one because you've got to respect people's right to have their opinion on whenever they want and to display it every way they want, but just not at a football game. Then you can do it whatever you like. Social media is a big bad place now. You can go out and say whatever you like out there and nobody's really going to bat an eyelid at it. So yeah, I think it was strongly worded, but I also think it was expected. I do think it was expected. I don't think the club were necessarily going to lie down to it, and yeah, maybe slightly stronger worded than I thought it was going to be.
I would like, just on the pyrotechnics thing, I would like to say that I would really like it if the club and Scottish football could embrace safe pyrotechnic stuff, like when it's safe for everyone, because it does bring atmosphere. It does bring, you know, a tremendous kind of view for the stands and stuff like that. That's what I like, but it's got to be done safely, and it's got to be done in a way that we can all embrace it. And I would like people to get round the table and talk about that. You know, it's 2025. It is the way fan culture is going. So could we try and embrace it a wee bit? That would maybe be where I would say. But also the responsibility of the sections and things like that. If you're getting these privileges and we do go down that route, then you also need to self-police it. We can't be throwing things. We can't have things happening from those sections. So that's what I would say. It's a balance, isn't it? And I think, you know, for ultras and things like that, then I think there needs to be a wee bit of give and take in terms of if you're getting certain things. And I really would encourage it, you know, the safe pyro and stuff like that. I think it adds so much. But, you know, got to come and go a wee bit. You know, if we're playing with you guys nicely and giving you guys what you want, then I would want them to do the very best for Rangers as well when it comes to, you know, what they're putting up and what they're doing with it. So that's maybe just a kind of sub thought on it. But honestly, mate, I would rather we just concentrated on the football. There's so many things to talk about. There's so many things to look forward to, hopefully, in our future coming up very quickly. You know, we've got a manager in there at the moment who, you know, is a club legend, stuff like that. So, you know, there's lots to talk about. We shouldn't be talking about banners and and pyro and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And we'll just quickly finish on it. If you're throwing stuff at a football game, you're an idiot. And I've said that many times on the podcast. I don't know why you would do it. Honestly, I've got no idea why you would do it. We will move on from that. I just wanted to get your opinion on it, mate, because that was the kind of biggest thing to come out this weekend. But we'll start with some happier times. Stevie, we won an Old Firm game at Parkhead. Can you Adam and Eve it? Because I cannot. You wouldn't know that we've won an Old Firm at Parkhead, but it would be... well, you would definitely know, because there's now a police probe into some water splashing. Would you believe it? The Cherny Soaker 1872 is on sale, I believe, at the end of this week. I mean, there is no other club like them in the world, isn't there? Not there honestly isn't. It's a bizarre thing that they simply cannot take that Igaman scored an absolute ripper to win the game. All of a sudden, there's a police probe into some water. Would you believe it?
I defy any Rangers fan who hasn't watched that clip and laughed and replayed
a million times.
Again. It's like something out of Scooby-Doo or something, where there's a character in the back, and it's just the reaction to it is hilarious. You know, the clips of the guy standing screaming, "I'm the victim." It's water, mate. What you got to do, like when it starts raining? You know, it's just. I think it's just hilarious. It's just such a funny thing to have happened. I didn't know anything about this. You know, I kind of came away from the game because I was there, and I came away from it thinking, yes, we've won that. And I was talking to boys on the way back to the car and that, and I was like, we've won that. There was no controversy. There was no nothing. And they were like, oh, they'll find something. And sure enough, like you've got Tav encroaching by about 2 yards when we kicked off, which is like the whole reason why the 90 minutes went wrong. And also we've got Cherny scooshing a wee bit of water and stuff like that. It's, you know, it's talking about 6-game bans and all. What a load of absolute nonsense. The police won't do anything about it. That's an absolute fact. There's no intent, and it's nobody's injured. It's just a load of nonsense. So the police have to give you a stock answer of, yeah, we've received a complaint. Who complains about that? It's just
Celtic clearly do. Celtic clearly. I'd imagine they must have received, I would say, hundreds of complaints from some main howlers, mate. I've got no doubt that they would have.
But listen, you know, this is a football club who have tormented us for a decade now, and you know, deservedly they have wiped the floor with us because of the state of our club. But we've had Griffiths, we've had Brown, we've had all sorts take the piss out of us. There was a guy wearing a police hat, and we were just to put up with it and all that kind of stuff. And by the way, if you grab a police hat and off of any police officer on a Friday night in Glasgow City Centre, you'd be arrested for it as well. So let's not kid on. We're all offended by a wee bit of water. The real reason and the real issue is that Rangers won a game of football, and it was wonderfully glorious. And to be in amongst it, Scotty, it was honestly unreal. Loved every single second of it. So it was good. You want to hear a funny story? So we were just before the game, right? And the crowd had been unbelievable, right? And I had Graham Barron, who's Conor Barron's dad on my right-hand side. Really nice guy. I've seen him before and spoke to him before and all that. So we were chatting away. On my left-hand side, I had Mando from Rhino Express and Jim, and then rocks up next to us, Nacho Novo. And I was like, Nacho, is this your seat? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh. I said, as soon as he gets noticed by the way end, right, who's going to get it? Me. Big fat bald guy next to him, right? So I'm going to get pelters as well. So I'm telling Nacho this, and Nacho's howling. And then 20 minutes later, they all recognise Novo, so they start giving him pelters. So I look over. As soon as I look over, what are you looking at, you fat hun, and all that. So Novo was howling. He's like, yes, this takes the pressure off me. And I'm like, you've scored here and all sorts. And I'm just standing. So, it was the atmosphere, by the way, on Sunday was incredible. It was such a laugh. And I went with my pal Sarah before we met Jim and stuff. And I said to Sarah that I had a funny feeling that we were going to get a result. And I don't know what it was. But it's just the kind of Barry Ferguson effect, I think, a wee bit about how we're going about things. And I'll tell you, Davie Edgar already put this on X. I don't mind saying it. But last week, after the press conference, after beat Fenerbahce, spoke to Barry outside. And Barry was like, we might need you three to get your boots on on Sunday, which I obviously thought was quite funny because I've got a Ronaldo body these days, and not a Cristiano Ronaldo body, but the original Ronaldo body. And so we were laughing, and said to Barry, "Well, 3 points on Sunday, Barry. Nothing less." And he says, "Don't worry." He says, "We'll be ready, and my team won't be tired. And if they're tired, they'll be told they're not tired." And I loved it. I was just like, and David put that up in X already, and that's a true story. But that's Barry. That's what he's like. I've got to know Barry obviously from doing 5-star nights and stuff like that. He's a really genuine bloke. But when it comes to Rangers, his demands are right up there with what I demand and expect.
Yeah.
And he's just, I think that is clearly rubbing off on the players within 3 or 4 weeks. There's a structure, there's a formation. They know what they're doing. It's just simple stuff. Christ, we're even scoring from corners, Scott, which we were told for a year and a half didn't matter, and everything, and we didn't practice them. Then all of a sudden we've got 2 in a couple of weeks, and things are happening. Like we almost scored a couple at the weekend. It's marginal stuff, and they're all it's simple marginal stuff. And I'm a big fan of what he's done so far, that's for sure. But Sunday was an absolute joy, and I would rather concentrate on what we did do than a wee bit of water. Look, there was no soap in it. Nobody was injured. It's fine.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Look, either of you, thank you very much for the donation as well, mate. And he said the question is for you guys is this: will the new owners embrace the coaching team we have in place, or will they rip it up and start again? I'd prefer to stick with the guys in place. Stevie, it's going to tie into something again. Look, either of you, thank you very much for the donation. Very generous of you. Obviously, with the way Barry he's got a reaction at the players. It looks like the attitudes have changed, etc. I do think and it was Nicky that mentioned this actually the other night on the podcast on Monday night. He said we would have very short memories if we don't remember every manager we've appointed over the last couple of years has got a bounce. And I was like, that is true. I suppose you do have to remember that there is something new, something fresh about it, and there is a bounce. My counter to that was exactly what you mentioned about the standards of what it means to be a Rangers player and what it means to play for Rangers. Is he's basically given it through the eyes of a fan, because that's exactly what Barry Ferguson is. He grew up a fan and he's lived the dream, the ultimate dream. Now he really has lived the ultimate dream. So I think if he has a stormer towards the end of the season, I think he would be entitled to ask for an interview for the job. I don't think there would be any great doubt about that. In terms of the other coaching staff, of course, they've helped. I think you can see that Dodge has made a difference with the way he sets up. That's been mentioned on, I think it was Sports Scene, and it was a Billy Dodge special, the corner that we scored from at the weekend. But what do you think? Does Barry Ferguson have any chance? Does any of the coaching staff have any chance with these new owners coming in? Is it all a bit hypothetical and it's far too early to say, considering we don't know the real plan of what the new owners would be? What's your thoughts on it?
I think it's factual to say that they have a real chance, but I agree a wee bit with what Nicky says about the bounce. But this is going to be a wee bit long-winded. Here's my thought behind this, right? Rangers have went for coaches, guys that have got philosophies and all that, and it doesn't work. And I'll quote you: Le Guin, Warburton, Clement, Van Bronckhorst, Michael Beale. Good coaches, right? Successful guys. Even Beale as a coach, not as maybe a manager, but as a coach and everything else, very successful in Brazil and all that kind of stuff. So look at the people that have been successful at Rangers: Walter Smith, Alex McLeish, Dick Advocaat, Steven Gerrard. What are they? They're all figureheads, right? They're all powerful men who understand what's necessary, who are able to deliver factually what is needed and required at Rangers Football Club. The ones that haven't come in and done well, or the ones that have come in and not done well, the coaches and things, I don't think it works. I would much rather have Barry Ferguson and a figurehead type than go down and go and try and get another coach like Russell Martin, who's got a philosophy, 4-2-3-1, which has bored us to tears for years. Pass, round, horseshoe, etc. It doesn't work. And I'm not saying that Barry's the answer. What I'm telling, or what my opinion is, that we need a figurehead as a coach, as a manager, and good coaches behind them. And I think that you can already see that Neil McCann is very tactically astute. He's got the formation, he's got the setup, along with the assistant, Sharai, who I struggle to pronounce his name, but they're obviously working. Barry's your overhead guy. Billy Dodd's set pieces, working with strikers, etc. So I think that for the rest of the season, Barry needs to see how he goes. But if he beats Bob Bell, and then all of a sudden you start getting results at Pittodrie, win at Easter Road, win these games that are quite difficult and have been difficult for us, and he finishes strongly, another Old Firm victory at Ibrox would be welcomed, then Barry would absolutely be in the shout. But I'm also reminded of, just like probably what Nicky's saying, that you see caretaker managers come in and you get a bounce. Look down south, like Roberto Di Matteo at Chelsea, come in, won the Champions League, was sacked 3 months later. After getting the full-time job. There's been other occasions, Gary O'Neill, etc., has went down there as a caretaker, done really well, and then took it full-time and not managed it. And it's things like that do worry me. But I think that Barry has got the ability in terms of the know-how to ensure that he wouldn't be, what's the word I'm looking for? He wouldn't relent on what he believed. Because Barry Ferguson was the type of player that won 4-0 and wanted 6. And I think as a manager, he would keep drumming that into him, because I know how he feels about Rangers. We all do. And I think that, again, I'm not saying Barry Ferguson is the manager and the answer. I just think that as a kind of setup at the moment, I think we've got something that'll work long term for Rangers. And that's the kind of route I would want them to go down, rather than go and get a coach who's got a ideology of how we should play and a way of doing it, and won't change and won't be pragmatic, and 4-2-3-1's the way to go no matter what. I don't want that to repeat itself, Scott, and I feel like it will if we go down that route again.
I put it to the lads on Monday that Barry Ferguson is everything that we want in a manager, and just because the whole experience side, which will get bandied at him, and he's less than glowing managerial career, and that's no disrespect, it isn't fantastic for what he's done, but we're also looking for him, but as I say, in this ideal coach that probably doesn't exist. There is probably enough people around about him and there's enough people that would be able to attract in terms of coaches that would be able to bolster his coaching team, including him. And the thing with Barry Ferguson that attracts me to it is everything that you've just said. He's a guy that as soon as a standard drops, as soon as a player's not pulling his weight, he'll not hesitate for a second, even if it's someone we've went out and we've spent 5 million on, 6 million on, meant to be this and that. And if he's not performing, Barry won't play him because it's not the best for the team. And I think Barry will always keep that at the forefront of his mind. I agree. I've seen somebody saying it in the chat. He hasn't won at home yet. No, he hasn't. That I'm sure that will come. I'm hoping that will fix that form. We'll soon see that change. But everything, all his characteristics, his personal traits, his leadership skills, he's, as you say, the figurehead of it. There's not many people in the world that you would like to pinpoint. Didn't quite work for McCoist, I suppose. Maybe you could say that, but it's a completely different set of circumstances that Alan McCoist was in comparison to what Barry Ferguson is now going to be in. But I don't think he's doing himself any favours. I really don't think he's doing himself he's doing himself any favours. No, he's doing himself loads of favours. I don't know what they're saying that is. You can tell it's been a long week. But he's not doing himself any harm anyway for what he's doing and how he's approaching things, how he's handling the media, the way he's speaking, everything about him. We all recognise him as a Rangers man. Do you know what I mean? We all recognise him as a kind of a Rangers man. We idolised him when he was playing football. And yeah, as I say, it's one of those ones. I think it's continue on, especially if he continues to bring in success in terms of results, and we perform well, another Old Firm, and everything you've just said, then I think he thoroughly deserves to be in the mixing pot anyway, about for a consideration. Do you think Barry Ferguson? Obviously you've had more one-to-one time than I ever have with him. I think Ali's had one-to-one time with him in a boozer. Ali met him. Ali went through a trend of meeting a lot of Rangers players quite close together, absolutely blottoed though when he was out drinking. And he met, I think, Scott Arfield, he met, was it Greg Docherty? He met Barry Ferguson, and you just kept running into all these Rangers players. Obviously, you spent time with Barry. Do you think Barry would be interested in staying on as not the number one? Do you think he would? Do you think his ego would allow that?
I think what Barry would say in a press conference is he's only thinking about the next game, but
he must have thought about it. He's got to have thought about it, yeah.
I mean, mate, I think 100% Barry wants this full time, but he's maybe just playing that down, which is fine. Would he stay on under somebody else? I'm not so sure. I would like to see Neil McCann stay. I'd like to see Billy Dodd stay, no matter what. So I think that would Griggsy be your new goalkeeping coach? I think so. And would Barry stay on, or would Barry consider it a result if he does do well enough in this 4 or 5 months just to go back to what he was doing before, because he was really happy? So would he be prepared to be an assistant to somebody else? I'm not so sure. And would he feel like, if he does really want this job, which I think he does, would he feel like he's kind of been downgraded a wee bit? So I'm not so sure that would work. I think it's Barry as top man, or it's not Barry at all. But as for Neil McCann, Billy Dodds, Al McGregor, etc., I think they could easily make up the backroom staff or potentially help make up the backroom staff of whoever comes in.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it would be all Barry or no Barry. I think that's the way he would look at it. And look, I respect that. I genuinely do respect that. I think when we speak about this, he's got to have thought about getting the job. He just has to have. He's in the dream position, I suppose, as a fan, as a guy that's played, the captained our club, had much success at this club. And yeah, now with the chance that he probably never ever thought was coming was to be the Rangers manager, even if it is on a part-time basis. There is no doubt in my mind that Barry will be thinking about it, because if it was me, I'd be thinking about it. I'd be thinking about wanting to stay on past the summer. That's for absolute sure. I'd be wanting them to win every game. There's no doubt about it. A lot of work to do in terms of the squad. Don't get me wrong. Like, we all know the problems with the squad. We could go over and over with it. But what I like about the Barry's approach recently, Stevie, is the horses for courses kind of approach, the changing of a formation that we were told was not possible during a season. It's the flexibility, it's using the players that we have and getting the most out of them without making it too overly complicated, I don't think. I think the way that we matched up against Celtic at the weekend worked a treat, I really do, especially in that first half. We blew everything at them in that first half. We were always going to tire, I think, into the second. But he has to take massive plaudits for the Old Firm victory. I know it was a bit hold on to your seat stuff in the second half, because they certainly had the wind in their sails, but we stuck in, and that's another thing. There's definitely been an attitude shift. There is no doubt, because we seen at the end of Clement's reign that these players had pretty much chucked it, and they chucked playing for the manager as well. Barry, I don't think he's obviously reinstalled a bit of belief into the players, but also the approach that he's taken. He's proved to be already that he's a good coach.
Undoubtedly. Look, undoubtedly. I think you're right. I think that, oh Christ, the end of Clement's tenure was just a rip-roaring nightmare. I think it was 6 months overdue. It's not like I was secretive in my thoughts behind that manager, that's for sure. I always thought that a half-decent manager could get more out of the squad. You only have to look at the upturn of James Tavernier in 3 weeks and what he was giving you and what he's giving you now. I think is prime example, but it doesn't take a lot to look at that team and think, right, that formation wasn't working. The number 10 for us was just, we have ruined our number 10s, Haji, Bayrami and stuff. We've absolutely ruined them trying to play in that formation. He's taken it out and he's went to a 3, which has meant that Raskin has found his form again. Diamande has been able to find his form. Who would ever thought a left-sided midfielder would be good on the left side of a 3? He's just simplified it, like you said. So, and do you know what I like about it? About just going back to a wee bit, and Barry touched upon this on an interview. Not many people got it. He said about Hamza Egerman, he says that he'll not start until he gets better at things that he's not doing right. And this is a young boy that's been a wonder kid for us. And he said to him, no, you're not going to play. And I know what Barry will be thinking. You don't hold it up. You don't close down and stuff like that. So he's maybe went to him and said, you need to give us more. And I think that's really brave. I think it's really good. And it's wee things like that, and even the corner stuff and all that. I think it's just been an uplift. That's for sure. He's definitely, I think you're right, horses for courses kind of thing. He's definitely getting the best out of them, Scotty. That's for sure. And
obviously,
and if I can just say as well,
yeah,
they are limited because we've got a certain type of squad, and we talk about needing a different profile of player. I think a different profile of manager from the one that we've had might work as well. Judging on what we were talking about before and the point I was making, we need a different profile of player. We need speed, we need physicality, we need guys that are going to break and be able to unlock. We don't have that in our squad. So when it comes to a European game or a Celtic game where they come out and have a go, much like Hearts away or whatever, we do okay because these teams come out and play. When they don't and they sit in and then they hit us and we can't cope, no matter who it is, that's when we struggle. So I think it's clear that we've got a profile and a squad for a certain type of game, but not for our country and our league, that's for sure. Which is why I'm not bothered about going to Bilbao, but I'm terrified of going to Dundee away in a couple of
weeks. Yeah, exactly, mate. That's exactly it. And it's just, I think you're right, and I think with the future, whatever it may hold with takeover, we'll come to takeover in a minute. The having Billy Dodge, having Neil McCann, having Barry, even, and obviously McGregor, they know the Scottish game inside out. They know what type of player they need to attract. The new sporting director, whoever that may be, they're good guys in place to be able to point them in the direction of players that we need, the traits of a player, the physicality of a player, the nature of a player to come to Rangers and be a success domestically. Because at the end of the day, the European runs are all great, and I think they are vital. And Stevie, I'm pretty sure I know you agree, but I want to win the league, and I always want to win the league, and it'll always be first on my agenda is to win the league. But European runs are important for us financially because it dwarfs anything that we can achieve in Scotland in terms of financial rewards for doing well in that competition. So I don't ever turn my nose up to it, but it does get to the point where most fans go, I don't care about Europe anymore, I just want to win the league because we're so desperate for that success back and to have the proper bragging rights back. So I do understand that. But on to the European thing, mate, before we'll finish up a wee chat about the takeover. Again, we're in the Europa League quarterfinals at the last day. A remarkable achievement, it really is, considering the standard of football that we've seen from this club domestically, from this team domestically even this season. It's kind of beggars belief that we're even there. Done it the hard way, don't get me wrong. Fenerbahce, the second game was a tough 90, 120 minutes to sit through, including penalties, which just tears you apart. It really does. And I'm probably not the only one. When had you missed a penalty, I was like, no, don't do this. Don't. You have done so well so far. But in terms of this is why we get so frustrated with the team, though, I think, Stevie, is because we know they can do things. Yes, might be due to the kind of makeup of the team and the physicality of the team, but they still have this grit and determination when it comes to a European game that they can perform. What have you got an opinion on what that is? Because we have consistently seen it from this Rangers team now. It's different variations of this Rangers team, if that makes sense. But we do well in Europe, but domestically we stink the room out.
I honestly think it goes back to the profile of the players that we have. And it's probably why Diamandi and Raskin and things flourished again on Sunday. It's the type of game that they relish. Mm-hmm. I'm mightily glad we've got a couple of weeks off because the team is dead on its feet. You've seen that in the second half on Sunday. But, I think they do relish it. I think they realise as well that it's a blank slate as such, and they can go and take it. But to be in another European quarter-final is amazing. I think that Bilbao is probably as tough as we've had. There'll be Lyon levels of performance needed to get anything from them. They've got, Nico Williams, obviously, who's an unbelievable player. Arsenal seem to be after him for so long. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're like. But the thing is, Scott, this team are weird. Like, you know it as well as I do that they go to Fenerbahce and crush them 3-1. They go to Lyon. They go to Nice and win 4-1. They go to Olympiacos, get a good result. They go to Malmo. They go to United at Old Trafford and hang in there. And they're just nearly there and that kind of thing. So, honestly, I wouldn't rule anything out at all when it comes to Bilbao. I'm looking forward to it so much. I want to see the momentum keep going. I want to see players keep getting fit and keep getting more and more, like Dujon Sterling. You know, he was terrific on Sunday, terrific against Fenerbahce, obviously struggling a wee bit. But we need these guys. Like Sterling could be such a major player for us. Then, you know, New Year time, breaks his leg or cracks his shin bone, whatever it was he done, and he's out for 2-3 months. We need these guys to be fit because these are the guys that can make the major difference for us. And what a wee change that was on Sunday, by the way, to put Sterling at centre half and Tav at right back, knowing that Sterling would be knackered and couldn't play the whole game or couldn't get up and down the right hand side. So switch. So that's clever, and nobody really seen that coming. So, you know, that's the kind of thing that we need to hope that time we get to Bobby, that head of steam is still going and we're still kind of going forward. Just get the results, get the performances up, especially individually, and take it into that and just see what happens. But do you know what? You've got to be in it to win it. And I'm not going to say we are, that's not the point. But I'm not ruling us out against Bilbao because anything can happen, and this team have shown that.
I am exactly the same. I said to the boys, and I know good old pal with the podcast Scotia, I know Scotia will have booked Bilbao already. Like, I know he will. He'll have booked it. And I'm not talking this leg, I'm talking the final. He will have booked it because I know exactly what he is like. He'll have done it. So, and look, I'm the same. I said the strange. I kept saying, even after we spoke about it after the against Fenerbahce, next time we done a pod, I was like, stranger things have happened now. They really have, because who knows really what this team are going to produce. You don't know. I'm exactly the same as you. I feel better about thinking about us going into a European tie than I do about us domestically, and that's just purely based with what I'm seeing with my own eyes, I suppose. Especially the Fenerbahce first leg. Rangers were absolutely outstanding. I mean, Desser's performance against Fenerbahce was unbelievable, genuinely. One of the most frustrating guys in the world, yes, and before people come in and say that, what about the chances he misses? I get that, but his performance against Fenerbahce was sublime, it really was. So, yeah, but again, it's just a fantastic achievement, and I'm the same, I'm looking forward to it. And another thing as well, just for fans, Stevie, it's important for us to still have something to hang on to this season. Yes, it might not go past this round, but it's still something to keep you ticking over another month anyway, where you're like, right, we've still got something to look forward to. It'll keep the crowds at a decent level, I think, put it that way, because obviously domestically it's beginning to struggle. Barry's helped that as well. I think you can see that there's the support of the fans is not wavered too far. We've wanted the change. Everybody wanted the change. It came far too late, but we've got it now, and everybody, I say, is kind of getting back on in terms with it and still going to the Ibrox in decent numbers, which is good to see. We'll finish up with a chat about the takeover, Stevie, because I don't think we've actually spoke about that, actually, even away from podcasting, if you like. It came out the blue, this. You might have, obviously, I know you have serious contacts, mate, and you are the Fabrizio Romano of the Rangers world, so you might have known a little bit more than others, but the takeover talk, it just kind of came out of nowhere, really. I think it kind of took me by surprise. Obviously, initially, you're thinking, yes, we're in the money, brilliant, everything's going to be amazing. We're going to have £100 million to spend. Obviously, you dig a little deeper, you calm down, and you start to kind of look at the things about what it could potentially mean for the club, the different avenues it might lead us. My biggest thing that I said when the announcement happened and we spoke about it was that the club have stagnated for too long the way that we are. We've just, for too long, we've seen the same movie over and over again. And I thought it was going to take a serious jolt for Rangers to change direction, to take a new approach, to take a step forward instead of staying still. And this doesn't come without me having some reservations about it, as naturally it probably will. However, I still think for us to move forward as a football club, it was going to take something of this nature to happen.
Oh, 100%. I think that this football club were on its knees somewhat. You had boardroom stuff openly coming out and saying there's boardroom fatigue and, you know, investor fatigue, and it's not like the board were well liked, is it? It's not like they are well liked. It's, you know, the IRA was starting to go towards them quite substantially at the time where this news broke. So it certainly bought them time, because everybody's just like, well, we're getting rid of them soon, rightly or wrongly. And this is what we needed. We needed a shot in the arm. We needed an adrenaline shot, and we need new direction. We need new leadership. We need new ideas. We need guys that are motivated to be able to make Rangers what they are and what they should be. And I think that's key. And this whole club, from the infrastructure, from top to bottom, needs refreshed. It needs a kiss of life. It needs that little jolt to it, Scott. I don't think that's unfair. It might sound dramatic to some, but I don't think it's unfair. And I think that whoever comes in leadership-wise, and they need to try and bring that. And yeah, everybody will be concentrating, how much we're getting in the summer and everything else. And I get that, but it's about wider stuff. Mm-hmm. Rangers need to upgrade Ibrox. It needs to happen. The stadium needs to be revamped, right? It needs to have a capacity increase as well, because you don't want to be 10,000 behind them every single season, which is £10 million. Potentially they're going to upgrade further. We need to make sure that we're pushing. And if we want to be the biggest club in Scotland, which we all think and where we belong, then we need to get back to being the biggest and the best. And it needs that drive. It needs that freshness. It needs guys that are successful. How are they going to make money? Because they're going to want to make money. They're going to need to improve. They're going to need to put money in for that to turn around. They're going to need to make Rangers successful again. They're going to need to have these big ideas about stadium capacity and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, Rangers need everything out with the pitch and the manager and the sporting director, who are all key appointments and key signings to make this summer. It's going to be a really big summer. We know that. But I don't think that this football club under this board at this moment in time would be able to achieve that, because there's investor fatigue, as pointed out, but there's also fatigue about how the club was getting run. Scott, our chairman left, and none of the board of directors even stepped up for it. They had to get a pal, and that's no disrespect to John Gilligan, who came in and done a wonderful job, and his role in this will get played out later. And thankfully, it will serve John well, because John's a great guy and a massive Rangers fan. But he had to do that because the investors wouldn't do it themselves. And I think that speaks volumes for where this club and board is in terms of their willingness to lead us to what we're doing next. So this was needed, massively needed, massively required. So yeah, I like to know about their plans. I think that's fair. We're all getting excited, but they haven't spoke yet. I know that, and I know but what are they going to do? So what's their plans? What's their feeling for the infrastructure of the football club? What are they going to do? What I've heard is good, but what we need to see is that out in the public and things, so that we can galvanise and get behind it. So I'm excited about it, because this football club needed something, mate, and it does. It's not only about the transfer window, mate, in the summer and who we're going to buy. It's about everything. This football club needs repaired. It needs a wee bit of TLC. It needs a shot in the arm. It needs that enthusiasm. It needs galvanised again. And I think and I hope that this is where it's going to be.
Fresh eyes was the thing that we have seen too many. And look, as well, even the board that we currently have and investors that we have, a lot of them serious Rangers fans as well. They're also involved in the fan world of things, if that makes sense. They're kind of swallowed up by fan opinions and whatever else as well. I think that a big red flag, as you mentioned, was the fact that none of our board members thought it was a good idea for them to take the chair when Bennett left. Again, I was like, what's the point of these guys being there if they can't step up to the role when it's required? But I sit in the club deck as well. Everybody will know that, and it seriously needs work. I mean, it really does. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's like massive structural work or anything serious like that, but it's not what it used to be. There's problems kind of all over it in terms of holes in the bits of the roof and stuff. And I'm not saying it's like a colander or anything like that, but there is bits that need serious work. And that's a bit that I'm seriously excited about as well, is the fact that, as you mentioned, that we're going to see a revamp. I think you'll see a revamp of the whole stadium. You would like to think so anyway. And they are businessmen. They are going to be coming here to make money. I do think the clamour is always who we signing, how much money we're going to have in the kitty to go and do that. That will come in time. They know that in order to be successful, they need a successful football team. They need to pack the stadium out as much as they can. I think this is the most realistic chance there has been in I don't know how many, since the stadium is in its current form, since then, that there is a chance that the stadium can be expanded in terms of how they're going to do that. Won't be a cheap thing to do. But it's also, if they're going to come here and they're going to get their teeth dug into this, which they will, and they've done their homework, this is a long-term thing for them. And not football, they know they need to improve quickly. I don't think they'll be daft enough to think that they can take 10, 15 years to develop the football team, but they'll know as a business that over the next kind of 5 to 10 years there's going to be a proper plan. You would like to think there's going to be a proper plan in place. To be honest, Stevie, I'm just really looking forward to seeing Rangers playing American football, because if we're good at that, then maybe we can do that domestically instead of playing normal games of football. We have to wait and see. I've got no idea how American football works, generally not a clue. I can't make any I've watched many games and I can't make heads or sense of it. I've got no idea how it works, but it's an exciting time. It really is an exciting time, and I am excited about it. There's also wee bits in the back of my mind that I'm going, there's certain things where I don't know if I'd be happy enough for that. Like the one everybody brings up, are you going to be happy when it's called the San Francisco 49ers Ibrox Stadium Arena?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Yeah. Do you know why? I wouldn't care in the slightest, because it's always Ibrox to us. And if somebody wants to come in and put in 6, 7, 8, 9 million, £10 million a year and bridge that gap so that we can spend more and we can become the most successful football club, who cares what Auchenhowie is called? Who cares what Edmondson House is called? Who cares what Ibrox is called? If that means that we get to keep Czerny or sign Sima or some big name that we've been, had the last couple of years, are you really bothered that money comes from Ibrox being known as whatever it's known as? Because I don't. And I'll always go and sit and say it's Ibrox Stadium, and I don't care about that kind of thing. So, no, I don't. Listen, I need Rangers to start winning stuff, Scotty. If I do another
big
vlog
shiny
like that,
things, yeah.
Park,
big shiny
honestly,
things.
If I do another vlog like that Queen's Park game, I'm going to give up, man. Honest, I need success. I'd like to come on podcasts and have a laugh and be more like Sunday's result, where we can take the piss a bit and have good fun. But I need success, and I don't really mind if Ibrox is known as something else whilst we try and get that. So, no, I don't mind in the slightest.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm not going to lie, mate. I won't like it, but it will always be Ibrox to me. It will always be Ibrox to me. And if it means that Rangers have more money to spend and we have big shiny trophies waved at us every season on a regular basis, then yes, I am absolutely. I'm sure I will get used to the fact that it's called the Hershey's Stadium or whatever it is.
I'm going to quickly tell a wee story which sums me up as a person.
Okay.
Years ago, I was out and I came back in and my telly had been fitted on the wall by my parents, and they were like, "This is absolutely brilliant." And I was like, "I hate this. I absolutely hate this. This looks terrible. I want it back down on where I want it on my stand, like so I can see it." 10 minutes later, I was like, "This is amazing. Look how good this looks. This is absolutely fantastic. This is the best thing." Sitting watching Jaws or whatever it was that I had on, Robocop, whatever it was, and thinking that this was the best thing in life. So I know that when Ibrox, or if it does happen for the first 10 minutes, I'll be like, "This is rotten. I don't like it," and everything else. And then 10 minutes later, I'll be like, "Do you know what? This is okay. I don't mind it." So what I'm saying is that I'll not do anything for the first hour or so until I get used to it, and then and then I'll be all right.
Then it'll be all right. Yeah, I think I'll get used to it as well, mate. I do. Obviously, it's slightly different than when Mike Ashley wanted to name it the Sports Directory and all that kind of stuff, because it was Mike Ashley, isn't it? So nobody wanted that. But these guys will know what they're doing, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As I say, it's going to be a massive change, a massive jolt for us, but as football fans, as a club, you would like to think, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds in terms of what direction they're going to take us and how they're going to do that, and all the plans of the infrastructure, etc., all of that to go ahead. It's a big summer coming up for Rangers, there's absolutely no doubt about it, and I can't wait for it to get going. Not before we win the Europa League, obviously. Stevie, before you go tonight, can you please tell everybody about your Davie Cooper documentary that you have coming up that I am very looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, so obviously it's coming up on the 23rd for Davie's 30th anniversary of his passing, and what we did was the brainchild really of David Herd, Rangers author, a fantastic historian of the football club as well. He wanted to tell the story, so we did Rangers themselves as a club gave us full access to Ibrox, which was amazing. We recorded in the Cooper suite at the touchline. We spoke to Derek Ferguson and Bobby Russell, who were his old teammates and his pals, and we put together a kind of 20-25 minute documentary telling his story, a few clips of some big moments in Rangers which were donated to us by Stephen Miller over at the Rangers Archives, and we're incredibly proud of it. Considering, Scott, this is a bunch of fans, it's not Martin Scorsese here, you know what I mean? It's wee Stevie, you know what I mean? Like cutting about in his trackies and Ibrox trying to record stuff and that. So, like, you know what I mean? I don't take myself seriously. I don't, you know, take.
Did you make sure the cameras were always lowered down so you look taller?
Absolutely, mate. I'm not on too much, don't worry. So, I'm really looking forward to people seeing it, and they can see it. It's Four Lads a Dream YouTube channel. It'll be free to watch on Friday night, and everybody is welcome to tune in. It'll be a little trip down memory lane for a lot of people, and it'll tell Davie's story quite nicely, and we'll also put the full interviews with Derek Ferguson and Bobby Russell and David Heard, in fact, up on our YouTube that people can watch, because during the actual documentary we clip and kind of go back and forward quite a bit, and the boys tell their story in the same time, but the actual interviews will be available for people to watch as well. So it's a tribute to Davie, you know, who was an incredible footballer and, you know, a real Scottish football legend as well. So we talk about his time at Clydebank and Motherwell, how he came to sign from Rangers for Clydebank, what happened when he went to Motherwell, his time at Scotland, and then his very sad passing. So, as I said, incredibly proud of it. It will be available for everybody to watch. Four Lads YouTube channel. It'll be available on. We'll put it on our podcast on Spotify and that for people to listen to it as well. But if you want to immerse yourself in the actual full experience to watch it, I think it's the best idea. So yeah, we're incredibly kind of happy and pleased with how it's turned out, and I hope that everybody enjoys it.
Can't wait, mate. Generally can't wait to sit and watch it. I've mentioned before, I'm just a little bit too young to have seen Davie Cooper and to have real proper memories about him. I remember the day that he passed away, because I remember my dad being absolutely devastated. It's something that I'll never forget. And I'll always listen to my dad's stories about him and how much my dad idolised him as a Rangers player. He always said there was nobody quite like Davie Cooper, and my dad always stood by that. So I am very much looking forward to watching it, and I'm sure everybody will be the same, mate, and I think it will go down an absolute treat, even if you are on it and we need to look at you, Stevie. I'm still think it would be good.
Only briefly, my man, only at the start. I do the intros and everything else, and then I leave it to the experts. David tells his story fantastically well. David Heard throughout the actual episode. I didn't want to be on it. I wanted it to be Davie's thing because it was David's idea, and it really is his brainchild, and the research and the work he done on it was incredible. I just kind of filmed and put the questions to the boys and stuff like that. So incredibly proud of it, and my wee shiny head's only on it for a wee bit, so don't worry about it, mate. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm generally, mate. I'm really looking forward to it. Everybody, you know where Stevie's channel is. Go over and check it out on Friday. As I say, I will be doing it. I don't even have early access. We're not that much. Stevie's not that much. My pal, he's not even giving me early access to it. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to tune in like everybody else to watch it. So I generally can't wait for it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight, and no more so than Stevie. Stevie, thank you for joining me, mate. I look forward to the next one. We'll not leave it as long. That is for absolute sure. Always a pleasure, mate.
Absolutely. I think by the time we speak again, we'll maybe be halfway through the Bilbao ties. So
yeah,
we should be a good 3-4-0 up and in a good place, hopefully. So no, in all seriousness, it's been good, mate. Apologies, it's been so long, but I think tonight we scooshed it, and that's the best way to leave it.
That is the best way to leave it. Thank you, everybody, for this chat, for tuning in. Make sure you go to Stevie's channel. I know you as well, but go check it out. I very much can't wait for it. I'm sure as soon as it's on Stevie's Twitter, my smidgen of followings that I have on Twitter comparison to Mr. Clifford's, I'll definitely be retweeting it because I generally can't wait to watch it. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the usual stuff. Thank you for all your chat, all your comments tonight. Very much enjoyed it. Until the next one, I have been Scott Carney. He has been Stevie Clifford. We are Club at 22, and Four Lads Had a Dream. Cheers, everybody. Good night.